you. It's such a thrill to be here and an honor to join the Soil Health Institute for their 5th annual meeting. I have been asked to share the results of our AFT NRCS Soil Health Economic, Water Quality, and Climate case studies with you. Oops, let's see. And I'm having, there we go. Advancing slides. So first I'll share an overview of our AFT Soil Health Conservation Innovation Grant project, go over just briefly our economic, water quality, and climate methods, and show you how to access the case studies and entice you to do that with few highlights that I think are particularly compelling. And finally, finish up with some uses of the case studies. And if I wrap up early, and I've just started my timer here, I may show some overview, summary results akin to what Archie showed for his 12 farmers, for our 8 farmers. But if I don't get to that, you can find that summary information on our AFT project website. So we do know that a lot of evidence does exist. The scientific evidence is as sound and growing that no-till, strip-till, cover crops, nutrient management, composting, and mulching, that is the world of soil health management systems that we featured, does improve water quality, increasingly thanks to the good work of the Soil Health Institute and NRCS and other researchers, is improving soil health, and we're increasingly understanding the reduction benefits for climate change. But there's not a lot of information about the economic benefits linked with better soil health. So everybody wants to know, right? The ag community, which is large and diverse, wants to know what the bottom line is. The farmers, the landlords, ag retailers, crop consultants, bankers, corporate supply chain members, ag educators, and ag policymakers. We looked around to try to tackle this, you know, who's done what work, and there is terrific soil health economic case studies out there by the National Association of Conservation Districts and Datu Research. They use the partial budget analysis like Archie mentioned and like we do in our case studies. They featured 4 farmers, 2 from Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri, and they produced 16 pages each for that analysis. There are 3 case studies produced by Environmental Defense Fund in partnership with CAECO ISOM. They used a farm enterprise budget analysis, so a little bit different, and they featured farmers from Iowa, Kansas, and Ohio, and those are 4 pages each. So if you want more detailed analysis, the NACD Datu case studies are going to satisfy that craving. If you want farm enterprise budget analysis, head on over to the EDF CAECO ISOM case studies. I found Florence Swartz, NRCS New York case studies featuring soil health successful farmer Dave Magos and John Kemmerman. Here's the front of those case studies, and here's the back page. And I just fell in love. 2 pages really resonated with me and my team who interface with farmers a lot in all 4 states that we worked in for these case studies. And they thought that this was the most likely education and outreach product that was most likely to be read by farmers and conservationists. It takes about 10 minutes to read her and our case study products. So we applied for the 2018 USDA Conservation Innovation Grant, and we're fortunate enough to hire Flo within 1 month of her retiring from NRCS to join our project. And together with our team, we developed a project that really is trying to drive adoption of soil health practices by quantifying the economic, the water quality, and the climate outcomes associated with successful use of the soil health management systems. We hope to increase awareness, develop these persuasive, new, innovative educational case study tools, as well as share the economic and the water quality and the climate methods with the world, new tools, to help you produce your own case studies, to help convince more farmers to adopt these practices on both owned and rented land. We're hoping that these products can serve as conversation starters between the landowner and operators to improve their communication and their interaction to set up for better risk management when trying to adopt soil health practices, not just on owned land, but also on rented land. So here, that's me and that's Flo, project leader and project economist. We did have to look outside of the 2 of us to an almond expert. We found Sat Darshan Khalsa out of the UC Davis Swartz department and really benefited from his helping us on the almond case study front. Here are the AFT authors. These are the folks that went out and identified and secured the soil health successful farmers. We're grateful to Justin Bodell and Paul Lum. They produced one California almond case study each. Emily Bruner out of Illinois produced 2 Illinois case studies. Brian Brandt produced 2 Ohio case studies, and Aaron Ristow produced 2 New York case studies. So just to highlight, to build on what Archie said about partial budget analysis, it is estimating the economic effect, both the benefits and the costs, of variables affected by a change in a farming operation, and only those variables. So it's not the whole farm enterprise analysis. For this study, the partial budget analysis compares costs and benefits before and after the soil health practice implementation, right? So it's a before, what were you doing? How were you growing your crops? And what were those costs to do that? And what were you doing growing your crops after you implemented the soil health practices? So all the time frames are going to be specific in particular to each of the farmers featured. To do this, we had to develop a questionnaire. It turned out to be a 21-page questionnaire in Word that takes about an hour, hour and a half, hour, 12 minutes to go through with the farmer, and an 11-tab Excel spreadsheet, which is our economic calculator, our retrospective analysis calculator for interviewing these soil health successful farmers. And together, all of this information, we analyzed the machinery costs that were changed because of adopting soil health practices, fertilizers, rates and timing, and all of that has been affected by soil health practices, pesticide use, yield, erosion repair, learning cost, and other costs. So here is what all of our partial budget analysis tables on the back side of each of our 8 case studies looks like. This is the one from Mr. Ift out of Illinois, and he has a corn soybean farm. He adopted nutrient management in 2010 and cover crops in 2014. That is what this economic analysis is trying to estimate the economic effects of. He believes that he can specifically attribute a soybean increase in yields to cover crops to the tune of 5 bushels per acre, and that helped estimate $36,000 or $44 per acre in additional net income. On the left, I'm getting ahead of myself, we have the net changes in net income, increases in income, also decreases in cost. He was able to save on his fertilizer due to nutrient management. He reduced phosphorus and potassium applications 20%. Herbicide savings also he attributes to better weed control from the cover crop. On the right-hand side, you see decreases in net income. IFT, along with all of our 8 farmers, did not identify any decreases in income, and I think you heard the same thing from Archie. They did have some costs, of course. Cover crop costs always ended up being among the largest costs for each farmer. We also included practice costs, learning costs for and he experienced a variable technology change. So what you see here is that the sum of the positive effects was to the tune of $64,754. The negative effects, $29,000 in costs. When you look at the change in profits, you subtract one from the other to get $35,000. And on a per acre basis, so farmers can compare themselves to each other, that's about $22 per acre. And then to get the return on investment, you take the annual total change in net income, $35K, divided by the cost of the investment, $29K, and you get 123% return on investment. Said another way, for every dollar this farmer invested in the soil health practices, he got $1.23 back, a great return on his investment. So very quickly, I'm not going into this. This is an economics focused talk. We used a nutrient tracking tool for our water quality analyses and estimated the nitrogen, phosphorus, and sediment reductions from one field out of all of the fields where the farmers adopted the practices. And we used Comet Farm tool by USDA. for the greenhouse gas emissions reductions analysis on that same focus field. So thank you so much to our external reviewers. Their review, the set of economists listed here from NRCS, the set of soil health specialists from NRCS, the university economists all helped make our economic analysis stronger and more sound. Special thanks to Lynn Knight at the top, as she really rallied the troops at NRCS for us. Special thanks to Mindy Selman of USDA and Matthew Sturmer, Mark Easter, and Haley Nagel of Colorado State University for helping train our staff on how to use NTT and Comet Farm, troubleshoot when we had challenges with the online tools, and reviewed our data entry as well as made sure we interpreted the results correctly. One more special thank you to Bianca Mobius-Clune of the NRCS Soil Health Division that oversaw all of this review work and was a big supporter of us. And thank you to all of this, we were able to get NRCS's logo added to our products, really hoping to expand the reach of the case studies. So here they are, 2 California almond ones, 2 Illinois corn soybean case studies, 2 Ohio corn soy case studies, and 2 New York diversified farm case studies. That's the front of them. This is the backside with the partial budget analysis tables. So how can you find these case studies? It's pretty easy. The URLs are a mess, but if you just try one of these keyword searches, you'll get to all of them. FIC is the Farmland Information Center, a project between AFT and NRCS. FIC Soil Health Case Studies will get you there. You can download them. AFT Soil Health Case Studies, you can find the summary statistics I mentioned. This is the project website. And if you'd like to access them on NRCS's webpage, you'll find them with these keywords. So just a few highlights in the last 3 or 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes or so. Rogers, California almond case studies, he used nutrient management, conservation cover, mulching, and compost application, and believed that he was able to reduce irrigation water use by 25%, saving $95 an acre in decreased water and pumping costs. Nutrient management, composting, and mulching helped Tom eliminate potash use, saving $160 per acre per year. He believes his almond yields increased from 10% from 2,730 pounds per acre to 3,000 pounds, and attributed all of that to these soil health practices. The IFT case study I went through a little bit, herbicide savings due to weed management control, $15 savings. Nutrient management helped him lower his applications, and those bushel per acre improvements were terrific. A modest increase in attribution there. Niemeyer from Ohio, a great story about planting green into growing cover crops and terminating with a roller crimper. That nearly eliminated his residual herbicides, saving $18 per acre, and cut in half his soybean seed treatment costs, saving $6 per acre. He accredited half of his yield bump in corn from 165 to 195 bushels per acre, and his soybean, half of his soybean improvements from 45 to 65 bushels per acre to all 3 soil health practices, cover crops, no-till, and variable rate treatment. So he knows that, you know, improved seed varieties over the years, cooperative weather, sometimes even increased planting populations. That was some of what several of our farmers said is also at play, but he believes that half of the improvement in yield can be given to the soil health practices. Swade, he strip-tilled his corn and eliminated 3 passes, and that, including his no-tilling of his hay, resulted in 23 per acres machinery savings costs. We were able, with Swade's estimates, to provide a value for the decrease in his erosion due to his soil health practices in the form of $2.25 per acre in avoided nutrients lost with that avoided sediment loss. And his sweet corn yields went up by 31%. His corn silage yields went up similarly. And he also believed half his increases, or $72 per acre, is attributable to the soil health practices. So two slides left. We hope that our government partners, NRCS, SWCD, and Extension, our nonprofit fellow conservation groups, and the private sector, the corporate supply chain leaders, farm trade associations, ag retailers, crop consultants, cover crop seed dealers, stripped hill equipment providers, and everyone else I have not mentioned, use the case studies with their farm customers to help answer questions about the costs and the benefits of adopting soil health practices. If you are some of these folks, please start using them. Let us know how they work for you. If you know these folks, please share these case studies for use by them. We hope farmers will also use the case studies with their service providers to discuss adding soil health practices to their own land, with their existing landowners to discuss better sharing of the risks and the rewards of the soil health investments on the rented lands. Possibly approaching new landowners to add new fields, as well as bankers to secure additional financing for the farm expansion. Second to the last slide, next steps underway, we have what we're calling a predictive assessment calculator, this time for use with farmers interested in soil health practices, right? Everything I've told you so far was featuring soil health successful farmers. Now we're going to be able to run what if scenarios to predict the potential future short-term economic benefits, similar to what I've presented, as well as estimate the long-term benefits from improved soil health, such as yield improvements, such as nutrient mineralization, and water holding capacity. We're also trying to get the tools online thanks to a grant from the Walton Family Foundation. So with that, I close, and please again let us know if you use the case studies with farmers and or your fellow conservationists. And if you would like to participate in future methods trainings or get announcements of, say, for example, about the availability of the predictive assessment calculator or when the tools go online, please email this email and we'll be able to make sure you hear the latest. Thank you.